All right, we're off. Hello, hello. Okay, hello everyone. My name is Xander from Buggenhout. I am head of business development at Kayzr. For me, it's my first ever webinar, and of course, it's very nice that it's directly with Axel from Adshot, because Axel has a lot of experience in webinars. He he already did a few. Axel, I suggest you introduce yourself very quickly.
Yeah, sure. I'll definitely introduce Adshot later on down the slides, but my name is Axel. Indeed, I'm the co-founder of Adshot, and it's I think my 9th webinar so far. So the bar shouldn't be too high, but of course I already done quite a few, and voila. But I'll let you explain Kayzr maybe a bit first, and I'll definitely talk some more about Adshot, and then we can take it from there.
Perfect. Before I start, if you guys have any questions, make sure to put it down below in the chat box. Normally we will see directly. So after the session, we have a Q&A, and we will try to answer as much questions as possible. So let's start. Like Axel said, we'll talk shortly about our two companies. I'll talk shortly about Kayzr. Axel will talk about Adshot, and then we'll talk about the rise of gaming, esports, and interactive media, the struggles that come with it, the challenges, and then a very practical use case we both did. We both did something with Proximus, still doing it. We're very proud on that one. So we'll end off with that. And then, of course, like I said, we'll end with a Q&A. So let's talk about Kayzr. Well, Kayzr actually consists of 3 pillars. We have our own esports platform. I will come back to that later, but it all started with that platform. We developed it in-house. Next to that, we have Kayzr TV. That is our Twitch channel. We're a partner streamer at Twitch. I'll come back to that later, of course, again. And then we have our Kayzr League, which is our semi-pro competition in esports. So let's start with the platform. Like I said, we created an in-house engagement community platform for gaming enthusiasts and esports enthusiasts. So we, like you can see here, we try to create a community that can connect, engage, and share content with each other, and their biggest passion point, hopefully, esports and gaming. To give you a bit of an understanding of our numbers, right now we have a bit more than 100K users in the Benelux region, so Belgium and Netherlands mostly. It's about 50-50, a bit more in Belgium, but almost 50-50. A cool metric we have there is the third one, the 1 hour plus session time. So our users spend a lot of time on the platform, a lot of time per session. Why is that? Well, because we have our own tournament or tournaments, so people can join tournaments, play tournaments. That takes a while, but also we have a lot of gamification elements in the platform. That means the platform is gamified, just like a game. So you can level up, you can gain experience, you can unlock badges, you have leaderboards, all on data points we have. So we trigger people to come back, to stay, and to reduce churn, we have those gamification elements. Now, what does Kayzr look like? Well, we have our Kayzr Hub. That's our homepage where everybody lands, where we share a lot of news about esports, gaming, Kayzr, or even partners we have. Next to that, you can see all the tournaments that are going on that interest you, and you see polls. You can interact there. Like I said, we try to create a community. That's very important. So we want people to engage with each other. They can do that via chat. Everybody can chat directly in the platform with each other. But we also have a social feed. Look at it as a Facebook timeline where people can share memes, of course. But also if they look for a team member in a certain kind of game, they will post it there, images, videos, reshare, so on. You know the drill. Next to that, we have our tournaments. Well, that's the core of our platform. So people can join and play tournaments of their favorite games. We have 15 games at the moment, I think, on the platform. A lot of esports titles, of course, but even games like chess. We do a lot of fun games, so it could be anything. And the thing there is, if you join a tournament, you play a tournament, you earn an online currency called Kayzr coins. Very important there. Even if you rank last, you still earn coins. So it's very important that everyone can join, even if you're not very good at a game, and you still win. Now, what can you do with those coins? Well, you can save them up, and you can buy things, items in our shop. So we have an API connection with 2 Belgian retailers, so you can save up for a keyboard, totally free for the user, and it will be shipped to your house in a couple of days. Next to that, in the shop, we're making also a transition to more online things. So think vouchers for your service or product. And that way you can create direct conversion from our users to your service, product, website, whatever. Next to the platform, we have Kayzr TV, like I said, which is our Twitch channel. There, we're partner with Twitch, so every time we're live in the Benelux region, you can see us in the homepage carousel. So that also means we get an influx of a lot of viewers, but also a lot of viewers who don't necessarily know Kayzr. So we, of course, try to make content about the Kayzr platform and convert them also to that platform. But Kayzr TV is really where we reach our mass. So we have, yeah, like you can see here, 90,000 plus live views a month. Last month we had over 140K. This month we're going over 150K normally. So we're really growing there. And what do we do there? Well, in 2020 we said we want to be live as much as possible. And we reached out to a lot of young creators and said, you can make your own content on the Kayzr platform. We have a lot of viewers. You can promote your channel and you make content in return. We did that for a whole year, was very successful, are still doing that. But now we're also investing a bit in our own content. We have Beat the X, where Sende Pape and El Nilsson. Sende Pape you may know from M&M. He's a VJ there. It's a monthly recurring format we do. We have our own podcast where Dikkes Vekke, like you can see there, is our podcast host. He's also one of the event organizers of Comic-Con Brussels. That's also a monthly format where we interview people from esports gaming in the Benelux scene. And we've done things like 2 weeks ago with Average Rob, where he had his own Fortnite league. People could play Fortnite against him. And yeah, it was all streamed on the Kayzr channel. That was with him and his brother. So a lot of content with creators, young creators, new creators, more famous creators. We try to push a lot there. And then lastly, we have our Kayzr League, where Kayzr is accessible for everyone. So not just esports, but also gaming enthusiasts. The Kayzr League is really for the top. So for the best players there are. It's also with a cash prize at the final, so 4,000 euros per game per season. And how does it work? Well, we have our qualifications on the Kayzr platform, so everyone can join. Everyone could potentially win. Mostly, yeah, the best teams win and go to the group stages, which we send out on or stream on our Twitch channel. And then we have the finals. If the times allow it, of course, we try to do it on cool offline events. We've done it at Kinepolis, Facts in Ghent, DreamHack in Rotterdam, Comic-Con Brussels, and so on. So always cool new locations. So that's actually the 3 pillars of Kayzr. Next to that, we also do a lot of esports consulting, strategizing, conceptualization. So if there are any questions there, feel free to ask. And I think that's the perfect time to go to Axel, who will tell you a bit more. Oh, no, sorry. Of course, I forgot the most important one, Axel. I call it the credibility slide. These are the brands we work or we've worked with. What we've seen in the past, we've worked a lot with the first 3, for example, who are endemic brands. That means brands who are already in the gaming or esports industry. So for them, of course, it's obvious to do something in that realm, in that industry. But this year, we really see a lot of non-endemic brands going into the scene because it's a hard to reach audience. We will talk about that a bit later. And because, yeah, they want to reach Gen Y, Gen Z, and one of those passion points they have is gaming and esports. So, for example, yeah, Proximus, AB InBev, you can see it here, KBC, and so on. So now, after this slide, I will let Axel do a bit of the talking, and I will let him introduce Adshot.
All right. Oh.
Yep. Of course.
So I guess we are both controlling the slides. This can happen if you're not in the same location, obviously. So okay, this is the right slide. So what Adshot does is next-gen influencer marketing. Next-gen means, why do we call it next-gen influencer marketing? Well, on one hand, the answer is actually twofold. On one hand, we work with influencers on platforms such as new emerging platforms such as Twitch, TikTok, and YouTube to reach younger generations. That's why the next-gen influencers. And also, we don't try to produce boring content or something or standard content. We work with partners such as Kayzr to really take the content that is created on these new emerging platforms to the next level. And indeed, that's why we also partner with Kayzr for Proximus, for example. On the other hand, we also call ourselves next gen because we use technology and we actually build our own technology to make influencer marketing more effective and more efficient. So how does this translate itself? So we have built an application for influencers / creators. I'm going to mix these two terms together. Influencers refer to themselves as creators, so that's why I also use creators. But over 6,000 creators use Adshots to organize their professional life. So they have really an application where they can monitor their channel performance, get data about their Twitch channel, their YouTube channel, how they are performing, how each video is performing, and they can really take learnings from that and improve their content. On the other hand, we also allow them to network with brands and other creators on the platform. They also have the opportunity to create a real-time media kit, for example, which is basically a resume for you and me, but for influencers, where they can portray their performance, their content, their channels, a bit of more information towards brands and share it with brands directly to persuade them actually of their value. But the most important part is that we also offer them a way that they can easily find inside their platform or inside of their portal. They can find collaboration opportunities with brands, and they can really, if they accept or decline, they're free to choose. They can really see in one side, like, this is the value, this is the brand who wants to work with me, this is the demands, and I can either accept or decline it. And when they accept it, they can really handle the entire campaign directly from the beginning till the end on Adshot, which makes things really simple. And if we simplify the process, then we will achieve better results because there will be no misunderstandings and so on. So it's really crucial that technology streamlines the communication there. And on the other hand, we also have technology directly open for brands, but I'm going to talk a bit more about the agency services that we offer, because of course we have 6,000 influencers. We have a lot of data about them. They use our application. Of course, this offers benefits to brands as well. And we have built our own technology to actually, like I said, improve influencer marketing as a concept by improving its effectiveness and efficiency as well. So how do we do that? Well, basically, if you're looking for influencers to collaborate with, we don't rely on gut feeling to find the right influencers, or we don't work with exclusivity contracts where we always offer the same influencers. We actually use data matching, and we're going to use data to find the right influencers on our platform for your demands. On the other hand, of course, we can do, because we have all this data, we can also do campaign performance forecasting. So a brand knows in advance what they can expect from a campaign via Adshot, which is also crucial, of course, to make decisions on where to spend your marketing budget on and so on, obviously. Also, campaign management, we facilitate that. Just like I explained, it's really crucial that everything is simple for each party, because this will yield the best results. And again, with the data comes in, we're better to determine the impact of a campaign because we have a lot of data, the touch points, and then we can really say, this was the bang for your buck that was achieved via an influencer marketing campaign on Adshot. So this is, I call it, Xander, I call it the show-off slide. You had a nicer term. But indeed, I think it's important to note, especially also with the pandemic and so on, we used to be indeed more focused on gaming and gaming companies, but we see now again, like Kayzr also is seeing, that more and more brands are just looking for ways to reach Gen Z in an authentic way, in the right way actually as well. So it can go, we also even work for nonprofits and so on. So it's really, if you're interested in reaching Gen Z, I think Kayzr and Adshot is a good alternative to any traditional, as we will talk about later down the webinar, solutions that are out there. So Like I said, we do a lot of Twitch, and we emerged from gaming actually. So I hope that I'm eligible to speak and say a bit about gaming as well. And of course, gaming and the rise of these interactive media like Twitch and so on, they really go hand in hand. So that's what we'll talk about, the rise of it in the last few years, and of course, the acceleration due to the pandemic. So Facebook estimated that there are 2.6 billion gamers worldwide. So it's almost safe to say that half of the planet is almost gaming. So this is really a large number. So it's safe to say also that gaming really went mainstream in the last few years. It's not something, when we started Adshot, it was something which was considered, this is what people, typically even nerds, do in their basement. Nowadays, that's completely off the table, and it's really everybody who is gaming. And like Facebook said, they're not only 2.6 billion gamers, but they also said where we are going, everybody is a gamer. And we're already seeing this due to the pandemic. You have all these events, physical events, which went virtual on live streaming platforms, but also in a gaming-like environment that you could really create your own avatar, for example, and listen to certain concerts. Some racing games, for example, tournaments, physical tournaments, Formula One, went virtual for a period of time. So a large number of people got into touch with gaming, and also like these live streaming platforms on which these events were broadcasted. So we see really that the adoption last year really dramatically increased in the number of gamers, but also in the number of people who use these immersive live streaming platforms. So one of the things, of course, a really important part of gaming is esports. This is the competitive play, let's say, of gamers. So like you have on football as well, like the leagues with the professional football players and teams, you have the same in gaming, where people of certain games actually compete against each other in teams or individually in a competition. Like the Kayzr League is one example in the Benelux, obviously. But there are also global tournaments, of course. And as we see, the numbers are really crazy again. So 495 million esports enthusiasts are said to be there in 2020, which is more than doubled in 5 years. So again, it's really something that is booming esports. Also, 22% of all millennials watch esports. And brands are really investing into it because it's really a great opportunity to reach Gen Zers, especially because they're the prime adopters, and millennials as well, like Gen Yers as well, to reach these audiences. And you can see before the pandemic, obviously, it could also have been done like Kayzr also did. They did it offline on cool events in cool venues, obviously. Now, unfortunately, due to the pandemic, that's not possible. But esports always had a large live streaming component because many of these tournaments are global, and they're being live streamed, these events, towards Twitch and other sites where people could follow directly, such as we're doing a live stream right now, but they could follow and see the gameplay of each participant and so on and so on. So it's really also like you're watching football, but you're watching it on a website called Twitch, or you could also go to the stadium and watch it yourself. So basically it's the same concept. It's the same concept as sports, but it's esports, it's in gaming. But basically many of the things remain true, but it's becoming increasingly more popular than even some traditional sports as well. So, for example, I know that the prize money of some tournaments exceeds the prize money of Wimbledon, for example. So these are like crazy things. This also means that brands are picking it up. Otherwise, this wouldn't be possible, of course. And then, like I already hinted a bit, 1.2 billion people watch gaming content. Gaming content, we can consider it one that I just explained, like the live streaming of esports, but there is, of course, more to it. There are also, we basically have, the answer is again twofold. There are two categories. So one is video content on demand, which is basically like Netflix, but for gaming video content, where you can watch mostly on YouTube videos, but TikTok is also rapidly increasing in gaming video content as well, where you can see people uploading tutorials, playthroughs, commentaries, episodes about a certain thing that they're trying to achieve in a game, and they record their progress and make videos about it. That's one side. Today, we're going to focus more on the live streaming segment. Like I already said, esports can be, let's say, the subject of live streaming content. But what we typically see a lot is that Kayzr does it as well, but normal people like you and me, we broadcast directly from our bedroom, or they broadcast directly from their bedroom or house, and they go live and they broadcast their gameplay on Twitch. So this is what, in this example, I'll cover it in a few slides, of course, but this is what we're also seeing right here. And this is a large chunk of what is happening right now, that there are a lot of people doing this, and a lot of people are viewing or watching other people play or stream video games. So there's a huge opportunity there as well for brands, because there's a lot of attention in this segment. A USA study from Google and OCNC indicated that 50% of all gamers watch gaming streams, which reached 75% in younger age groups. So it's, again, many people, even more in the younger age brackets, like Gen Zers, are, if they're gaming and everybody is gaming, many of them are also watching live streaming. So again, super interesting, or are occupied with esports as well. So of course, to watch live streaming, you need broadcasters, people who are broadcasting something like we are doing right now, but we're not broadcasting gaming, we're broadcasting a webinar about it. So we have 12 million people at the moment. Some are really big, some are smaller, obviously, who are broadcasting content, live streaming content towards these channels. And you have Twitch is the biggest one. 90% of the broadcasters broadcast to Twitch, but also YouTube gaming, but it's actually just YouTube, where you can also live stream to. Facebook gaming is also something, but Twitch is really the market leader. But as you can see, all the tech giants are investing into gaming, into live streaming. Then you know that for your brand, there will be a lot of opportunities there. Otherwise, they wouldn't invest so heavily into it. Even Microsoft invested into it, but unfortunately, they already had to shut down their service, which is a bit painful. I'm not going into too much detail about it, but know that live stream is really something that's really cool. So here is an example. Somebody's live streaming. You can see his gameplay is playing a cards gameplay, Hearthstone, I think it is. Correct me, Xander, but I'm 100%, I'm pretty sure it is.
Hearthstone, yes.
And then, and you can see on the right, you can see, so this is really like, the question that I always get is, why do people watch other people play video games rather than play it themselves? Well, because it's really interactive. You can chat with other viewers, you can vote whether we will win or not. You can even sometimes play, like in Kayzr, you can play against each other. We also did this for Proximus to already give a bit of a sneak preview. And even more so, Xander, can you maybe play the video one more time? Or no, I can't.
I can. Yes.
Yeah, and so here again, if you see, you move your mouse over the gaming elements and you can see more information. Imagine that I'm watching football and I can hover over Messi and I can see his latest statistics. So that's really crazy, but gaming is already leading the way in becoming more and more interactive and really making it an experience rather than a passive viewship, which is often still the case in traditional sports. And but we also will see what is happening here will also come to traditional sports and viewship in the next coming years as well. So I think we talked a lot about opportunities, that really the numbers are just plain crazy. But on the other hand, of course, it brings some challenges. So you can maybe bring the bad news or the more bad news, let's say, Xander. Of course, we will show how we tackle them.
I don't see it as bad news, Axel. I see it as opportunity.
The glass is half
way more opportunities, and you have to be creative. But I think if you can, it can be a very good one. I see I can play. Yeah, interactive media. Axel already showed you the video of Hearthstone. If you looked at the chat, people could do a poll. So very interactive. They can chat with the creator they're looking at. So for them, it's a two-way lane. It's interactivity is key. And we see that in every platform, not just Twitch. If you look at TikTok, even Facebook, every social media platform, it's based on user-generated content. And that's the most important thing. You can interact with each other. And that's actually the pain point right now we see in advertising. That is, if I can go to the next slide. Okay. That is that traditional advertising is not interactive at the moment. So yeah, we all know bannering. If you go to a news website, you see bannering over everywhere. If you look at it, that's a thing. Even for me, if I read news, I don't see those banners anymore. I just block them out. It's static. I can't interact with it. So why would I look at it? Maybe if you do a good CTA, you can still, of course, generate some conversion there, but it's not as strong as it used to be, especially not for Gen Y and Gen Z. And next to that, of course, you have very intrusive advertising. Think of YouTube. If I go to YouTube, I want to watch a video of 10 seconds, and then I have to see 3 ads of 2 minutes. It's not fun. and it's a negative connotation for your brand. That's actually exactly what you don't want. So
on Twitch, even on Twitch, it's even worse because there it's interactive. You're chatting, you're playing even, and then bam, an ad, and it's gone. So trust me, you're not doing the right thing for your brand if you're doing these kind of things.
Exactly. Yeah. Fortunately, that's one part of the business model of Twitch, but I agree there. It's they even Twitch can do way more to bring interactive advertising to the.
They're saying it themselves, so I'm not putting anything new on the table. So, but indeed.
Yeah, true. I fully agree. Well, of course, with those new generations, those new types of content and content usage, of course, there comes some new challenges. Ad blockers is a huge one, especially if we look at even if we look at the Kayzr platform and so on. But I will come back to that in the following slide. Next to that, I think that authentic approach is more important than ever. If we look at Kayzr, for example, it is built by the community. Of course, we built the software, but it wouldn't even be a thing if there were no people on it. So you want to be authentic and you want to be interactive. The platform as it is now is built by the community and by the feedback we get there. And I think that's the most important part if you're in whatever ecosystem, esports, gaming, but it could be anything. Listen to your audience and be interactive. Same for a brand. And then, of course, Axel already told you guys about the data they have at Adshot. It's the same with Kayzr. We have a lot of data about the users. We want to be very transparent, but also, data is the new gold. It's very important you have data about your users because then you know their behavior. And probably a lot of you know about the third-party cookie from Google that's going to disappear. First party is going to become even more important. Like I said, Adblock, so the first one, Adshots did a study in 2020 and 2021 to Gen Z and Gen Y globally and in the Benelux region. If you see at the numbers, a lot of people use Adblock and you can't reach them. It's very hard to reach them there. And if you look at Kayzr, we once did a test with our users. There was more than 85%. So those are more or a lot of tech-savvy profiles, a lot of IT profiles on the Kayzr platform also. So they all know their way to an Adblock. I even use it, which maybe isn't the best thing because we also work.
That's why you don't
exactly. Yeah. So that's actually not a good thing, but that's because, like I already said, a lot of advertising is just intrusive, and you don't want to see it. And that's the important thing as a brand. You want to make your brand a love brand, and want that users are happy when they see your brand. This is a very nice formula. I have to give credit to you, Axel. It's one of yours, but I really like it because it tells you how you can create impact. And it used to be reach was the main thing. It's still, of course, very important you get to reach, but the two following factors are getting more and more important. So I already talked about the authenticity. Even for a brand, you want to speak the language of your target audience. So if you're going to gaming, do cool call to action or do some cool communication tailored to your audience. And then engagement, I think, is one of the most important new factors there is. Just like we did with Proximus. Axel already teased it. I tease it again, but we're almost there. I think you have to, like I said, you have to make a brand a love brand, and you can do that by creating engagement. And if you have those three factors, then you can create real impact and also a long-term. So not just short-term conversion maybe, but also long-term love brand, good positive association for your brand. Now, Axel, I will give the word back to you about the case we did with Proximus.
Yeah.
So, Axel?
Yeah, sure. Oh, he's doing it again.
Of course. Axel is working with like the remotes. I have to call it. I think I can click on I'm presenting, so for me it's easier. But
Yeah,
it's a good tool. It seems to work.
Yeah, it's brand new, so that has its flaws, obviously, but that happens with new things. So what we asked, or what the case from Proximus basically was, is that they have Proximus Epic, which are formula subscriptions for data usage for smartphones or for telephones. And the main thing is that you get a lot of free data or large data volumes is the better description for it, for Gen Z platforms such as Twitch and other like really interesting platforms that are really typically used by Gen Z, like Snapchat and so on. So it's really tailored towards Gen Zers and also Gen Ys, but the offer is really tailored to them. And even more so is that they also offer some gaming solutions. So they were also looking not only in how can we effectively reach Gen Z and Gen Y to really promote these packages, but also how can we also get gaming in the mix, because of course we're doing offerings for gamers as well. So that was the challenge, and I'll let Xander explain his part. I think that's best. But what we did is we worked with influencers on these platforms that we typically said, like Twitch and also like YouTube, on which they achieved, or which Proximus offered a lot of free data on. And we endorsed the influencers for a longer period of time, because of course we said authenticity matters. So it's important in influencer marketing, if you want to be authentic, it's always better to work with influencers or creators for a longer period of time. And what we did is we worked with Twitch influencers, also on YouTube influencers, but in this case, we're going to focus more on what we did with Twitch influencers for 6 months. And they created custom activation. So they did each month a cool branded thing. Like I said, we don't tend to create boring content. We always try to do something fun, engaging, because this is what works with Gen Z audiences. And also, we also, for these ambassadors, they always had permanent branded visibility for Epic on their channels as well, which I'll explain in the next slide. But I think I will let Xander maybe explain a bit more of how Kayzr, in high level hindsight, tackled the challenge.
Yeah, very, very high level, because we're going to detail a bit later. But we created 24/7 leagues, so 24/7 tournaments on the Kayzr platform with always on visibility. So actually that's an engagement tool for our users, but also for the creators from Adshots who could use a tool to create something interactive with their viewing, with their audience, to play against them. And next to that, we also had always on visibility on our KayzrTV channel, so our Twitch channel. A bit more, that's very high level, a bit more on that later.
Sure. All right, so what we did in a 6-month ambassadorship, we typically do this always. This is our formula, let's say. So each month, like I said, creators or influencers involved in ambassadorship will create something content-wise around your brand, depending on the channel they're working on, whether it's Twitch, YouTube, TikTok, or so on. And always you have this, like I just said, this always-on branding. Depends also a bit on the channel, but on Twitch, you typically have views like your overlays always of your logo is always visible on the streaming on the stream actually. Or you can also find below the Twitch channel, you can also find information, put information about the brand. If users are interested, they can go to your landing page or the dedicated page that you're looking to refer them to. So it's a combination of custom activations and always on visibility. Like again, the important moment is also, of course, that monthly content moment. And what do we do, or what did we do for Proximus? Some examples are, of course, one is a product demonstration. It's of course interesting to know, or for these influencers to spread a bit more information about what is Proximus Epic towards their audiences. So of course they need to make them aware what the product is all about and so on. So that's of course one thing, but we also do more, let's say, interactive, more engaging things, like we organize giveaways. For example, an iPhone was given away to the audience, and if the audience wanted to, or the viewers wanted to increase the odds of winning, they had to do certain activities such as follow the socials of Proximus, visit the website, and other things. But of course, one of the coolest things, or maybe the coolest things,
the coolest thing, Axel, of course,
far from all the others, far above all the others that we did, is that we worked with Kayzr, and what we did is the streamers, and I can maybe better show it in, or I'll show it in this slide. What we did is that that the influencers, the streamers, challenge their viewers to play against them in the leagues of Kayzr, the branded epic leagues of Kayzr on Kayzr against each other, so that viewers were challenged. Also, actually, the live streamers challenged their viewers to play against them on certain games. It was Modern Warfare. Huh? It was Call of Duty, right?
That one was Call of Duty, yes.
Yeah, indeed.
Warzone.
So, and how do we do it? Or just to show how do we translate our technology into value for a client? So for Proximus, of course, they were looking for the right ambassadors to promote the epic formulas. So first off, we defined the persona and said like, okay, who are we looking for? And then we saw that Twitch, for example, and gaming was really important among some other threats that an ambassador should have. And then we used our database, and we saw, because I said data is essential, we don't match creators only on gut feeling, but also on real data. And we let's say, selected relevant profiles. And then it's really important, we invited them, and they could choose whether or not to participate in the offer. Of course, it's really clear, you will become an ambassador for 6 months for Proximus Epic. This is what it will consist of. Are you interested? And then we presented the interested candidates to Proximus along with the data, of course, and they could make a selection of which were the ideal candidates to become a Proximus ambassador. And this is the moment I should basically hand it over to Xander, but what we did is, I'll already go to the next slide, is that we endorsed 5 of these Twitch ambassadors, Belgian profiles who stream in Dutch or in French, and they challenged their viewers to indeed play on Kayzr against them, in line to really challenge their favorite streamers and play on Kayzr tournaments. And indeed, it was for Call of Duty in this case. And like I said, one of the formulas is that one of the factors in the formula is reach, and this was also important. So how we achieved it is we worked with Twitch streamers who had 300,000 followers combined. So then you know that what they are doing will get traction and will create awareness of people who are actually watching Twitch at that very moment. So I think, Xander, now is the right time to hand it over to you, and that you can explain, because I think many people are wondering, okay, so they're playing games, but how does that work? And that's the right moment to.
Perfect bridge to be perfect. So yeah, like I said, we did branded leagues. Also, similar to Adshots' approach, we of course look at what games fit the brand. For Proximus, for example, you don't want a too violent game or too realistic game like a CS:GO. Warzone was still okay for this one, but next to that, we did a mobile game, for example, Brawl Stars. We did Fortnite also. So we're always switching there. And what we do is, like I said, league format. So a league format is unlike a tournament. A tournament is, for example, this evening at 7 o'clock you start, you go to the next round, semifinals, finals, and then it's done. So that's a selected amount of time. A league is 24/7, so you have that always on league. And how it works is, if you want to play, you go inside a waiting queue. If you're in that waiting queue, you could see, of course, Proximus branding at the top. That's also clickable, segmentable to Belgian users, and also a video tailored to that esporter that they just could see when they were waiting till the next match. Not skippable. You don't have to skip it. Once you find a match, you're in the match, so it's not intrusive in that way. And once you're matched, you can of course play with the user, chat with them, meet him, connect with him, and so forth, so further. And instead of just winning Kayzr coins, you also won Proximus Epic coins. So you can see that in the right corner below. And with those Proximus Epic coins, you could win Proximus branded prizes. So you had to play in the Proximus Epic League to win those prizes. And we still do it. Of course, the collaboration is still going on. And we, in January, for example, we had an iPhone. February, it was the Microsoft Surface tablet. And next to that, you also can win Epic subscriptions. So a yearly, I think, yeah, you can see it there. So a year subscription for Proximus Epic, which is also very valuable, of course. And you see a lot of users there are really getting used to the branded leagues. We will talk about the numbers a bit later. And in a social feed, for example, they're really asking what's the price for next month going to be, and they're guessing. So it's a very interactive way of working. So what we did for branding purposes, of course, is a tournament page. We also had an Epic League page, so branded to them, which the creators of Adshots used for the users to land on. There you can also see a how-to Kayzr if you didn't really know or don't know how it works. You can see there the lottery prizes. And of course, also in the social feed, we do bannering that's natively embedded, so can be blocked by an adblock. And also, again, segmentable there also. That's the Kayzr platform, but also we took Proximus along on the Kayzr TV ride. I talked a bit about it already a bit, but at the left corner above, you can see, for example, our first podcast ever, and that was with the Kayzr team. So you can see my face sitting there. Also very fun one. If you want to watch it, it's still on Twitch. But similar to Adshots, we take Proximus Epic on the branding sites, on the stream, of course, on the clickable tiles on our profile page, and even in the chat, we integrate them there too. And also a fun thing there, if you look at Twitch, you also have gamification. You can have channel points if you watch a channel. With those channel points, normally you can unlock an emoji, for example, or change your name. We've also made an integration with Twitch, so you can change, or you can use your channel points to gain lottery tickets on Kayzr to win prizes, for example. So that's an integration we made there. And then we have, of course, the results. So we started in December. So this is December, January, February. And we, on Kayzr, we accumulated 2.7 million page views for Proximus Epic. We gathered 324K live views. And yeah, almost 15,000 matches were played in just the Epic League. So I think a huge amount of people who played there. It's absolutely a record for us too. And I think also that's because with the synergy we have there with an Adshot, of course. Also on the live view part, I already said it. I think the last 2 months we've had more than 40K views on monthly base. So we're also seeing the growth there. So maybe Axel, for the numbers wise, maybe it's good for Adshot that you explain them there.
Yeah, sure. So like I said, we worked with multiple ambassadors on multiple channels, and they amassed in this period of 3 months already 2.15 million views, on which Proximus was visible, adblock free, and really cool embedded in the content. So these numbers are quite crazy. Again, for Kayzr, the same thing, 2.7 million page views. These are really views where somebody's really watching your, like, it's different from bannering and all these things. There you can also amass quite quickly a decent amount of views, but there's a difference. Have they actually seen your ad, or wasn't it even ad blocked? So these numbers are already quite crazy, I think, in reach. So, and then just focusing on Twitch, we achieved 484K live views on Twitch. I heard some kind of Twitter.
That was me, sorry.
No problem at all. So the ambassadors on Twitch in these 3 months almost achieved 500,000 live views, where also, again, Proximus had visibility, and 10,000 people viewed these matches that were played by these influencers on the Kayzr platforms against their viewers. So 10,000 people were watching content completely centered around Proximus Epic. So this is really what I think that is making impact, and even the numbers can even maybe compete with traditional advertising, but I think it just way more impactful because what we're all doing and what we just explained, I think. So I think I'm proud of the results. I think you are as well. So
I'm a bit proud, yes. Yeah, it was very good.
That's still ongoing. So.
Yeah, true. It's still ongoing and it's growing, which is an important factor, I think, too. Like I said, our users are really getting used to the Proximus League. They're asking for it more and more. So you see the positive connotation, the love brand, creating the love brand is really working also. Now, yeah, maybe it's good if you guys have any more questions, leave it down. I'm looking at the LinkedIn. You can add it as a comment. And we'll answer it there. We've already had some questions about people we saw, and I see there are new questions too. So maybe let's start with them. Axel, I suggest I just say the question, and then we'll see who answers it. It's maybe the best. So the first one is I think is a bit more tailored to Kayzr. Are there differences in personas between games? Yes, I think I already talked a bit about that. So every game, it's just like sports games it's even more variable in esports, have a way different kind of audience. Like Fortnite or Minecraft is lower aged. It's getting up there. A lot of older people are playing it also. But for example, League of Legends is really a strategy game. You have to be an analytical thinker there. So that's a different kind of profile. So yes, every type of game has a different persona. And I see from Joran de Vries, how do you measure the value of influencer marketing?
Yeah, I think that's more my part. I think so. Yeah. How do we measure the value of influencer marketing? It depends what you're trying to achieve. Are you trying to achieve sales? Of course, influencer marketing is not purely an awareness channel, but it's also not purely a sales channel. It's something in between. You're creating awareness. You're building your image because you're tying it to the influencers. But you have the opportunity that influencers will do activations for your brand. So basically, how do you measure the value? I think depends on campaign per campaign, what your targets are, obviously. But how do you measure it is just what was the impact, what was the reach, but also this is why we do the engagement things always, like with Kayzr. We don't just talk about reach. We don't talk about this is how many views we amassed and it was a great campaign. No, we always look for that interactivity, like the Kayzr platform or the giveaways, the interactive giveaways. Why do we do it? On one hand, because it's cool for the viewers, obviously, it's a cool experience. But on the other hand, because it yields data. It yields data that we can say, for example, on the giveaways. Proximus, they achieved 3,000 new followers on Twitter, for example, with this campaign because of the influencer, because we can directly measure it. And that's why these engagement interactive technologies come in handy to really assess the impact of your campaigns. I guess Xander as well, for you as well, like the prices and everything, how many people spend their coins on Proximus products and how many matches were played. All these kind of things are more deep going KPIs than just awareness. So I think purely hard cash, I would never assess an influencer marketing campaign purely on how much hard cash was generated. It can be a fact, but that's not really how I would see it. But you can really go and like determine impact further than just awareness. And I think that's the first point that you should put your targets on before you're doing a campaign.
Yeah,
hope that was clear.
I also see a question from Matthias Andresen. Hi, Matthias. Is Belgian Twitch already big enough to have a big return on investment? Many channels only have 30 average viewers, but the bigger Belgian streamers can be counted on one hand. Maybe I'll give my take on that first. I think that's a very good one. Matthias, and very true also. It's still a new industry. Even if you look at gaming and esports, same with Twitch, it's still becoming an adult industry. Well, that doesn't sound very good.
Yeah, I was thinking like should I intervene? It's
That's maybe not the correct term. Yeah. But it's a growing industry. And of course, I think for the smaller influencers, it's important for them to be consistent. And that will gain your following. But also for brands, I see that as an opportunity. We do that with Kayzr too. Like I said, we give young creators a chance to be on the Kayzr platform. Of course, we look for them, and we do kind of a quality control. Also for brands, I think it's important if you create a connection with a beginning influencer or a smaller influencer at the beginning of their career, the chances are they're going to have a good relationship and stay with you are way higher. So I think that's a factor. And of course, for an industry to, how did you say it, Axel?
Sure, I think.
To become more mature. A lot of actors in that industry and a lot of actors that are outside the industry but are interested in it have to invest, and then it starts growing, and then you will see more and more see it more and more popping, becoming more mainstream, and then the carousel starts going.
Yeah, and if I maybe expand on, because it was already quite clear and a good answer, but if I may expand from my point of view, so what we see now is that Belgium is really like Belgian streams are really picking up fast, and it's really rapidly exploding because of TikTok. Is one of the main reasons also why Twitch Belgian streamers are getting more attention. We see in the Netherlands that really the reach of influencers there is already crazy, and we always typically lag a bit behind. I'm not always proud to say so, but it's the truth. And indeed, it doesn't even matter because it's also more than about views. Some streamers, for example, who have only 30 average viewers, have a community of a few thousands in their Discord and so on. So it's also, if you maybe were willing to work with multiple of these smaller influencers, you can also start these ripple effects because they have way more effect on their community, on their viewers, and their conversion rates, let's say if we talk about typical marketing terms, are so much higher engagement rates that if you work with a few, you can really start the ripple that will really set your brand off or really set your product sales off. So I think there even lies value in working with smaller streamers as well, not only to support them, but because they will achieve a lot of impact. It's even just for normal consumers, normal people, it's always important you have ambassadors for your brand because they will influence other people, and they have already a bigger influence than the normal people. So it's important as well to not, let's say, underestimate their value as well. So
yeah, exactly, very good one there. And I think Adshot and Kayzr also is a very good one for brands who don't want to maybe look for all the influencers. I can see that that's a lot of work. So you can use an Adshot to accumulate a lot of them and to make them an ambassador. Same with Kayzr, we do the scouting there for the Kayzr TV channel then, and then you can accumulate, and then you can create that impact. Other question from Matthias Andriessen again. Should brands focus on English with gaming, or is Dutch/French the way to go? You first, Axel, or me?
Yeah, sure. No, I think depends on where your target audience lies. I think Twitch and gaming is such an international scene that it's really important if you're really looking to only sell products, for example, like Proximus is doing in Belgium, then I would definitely go for French and Dutch, because of course there is a downside to, let's say, influencer marketing, especially, is that the content is the content and the audience. So you can't the live streaming content, you can't segment it and localize it, geolocalize it, your offer, for example, or what you're showing to different audiences. Everybody sees the same thing. So if you want to sell products, for example, in France or in Belgium, it's best to work with French-speaking influencers, because of course, then you know that the people who will be watching will not be worldwide, but will be most likely from French-speaking countries, most notably. But we have also insights into that, and so we can always determine in advance. If you're looking to sell products in Belgium, for example, from our side, we can see this is the audience that these streamers achieve in Belgium, and it's sufficient enough that they should be considered to work with the brand. So it's a challenge as well.
I fully agree again, Axel. I think it depends on your brand, on whom are you targeting, but maybe also from an influencer perspective, it's also an interesting one, because normally you think if I go English, my reach will be way bigger, but sometimes if you look at in esports, for example, one of the biggest esports teams, Lowland Lions, did all communication in English. They switched to Dutch. Very brave move, I think. But that can also be a very good move to increase your reach in a certain kind of region, because there aren't as much influencers that are doing something in Dutch than in English. So your potential there maybe can be bigger. So I think on the creator side, it can also be an interesting one to go English or to go Dutch or French instead of the general English. Let's see, what do we have here? What are your main tips for bigger brands to approach the gaming market? That's a very good one, I think, too. I think, like we've talked about, you don't want to just do programmatic, for example, to gaming, and that's it, because they use Adblock, and that's going to be intrusive. They're not going to notice it. So I think that interactive part, be it with Adshot, be it with Kayzr, be it with maybe another party, is very important for your brand. Try to include that in your marketing approach. Of course, the normal reach at Google, Facebook, you can perfectly track conversions. We understand you can track your reach. We understand that's an important part of it, but in the longer term, you really want to create that love brand. Axel, I don't know if you have anything else.
I think the easy approach is, like you said, just go to traditional solutions. And of course, this requires a bit more legwork, because of course, I don't think there's one strategy that can be for each, let's say, market, or for each country that you can, for a global brand. Depends a bit of what the streaming community, for example, or the gaming community is like in this country. So it's not a one-size-fits-all approach. So it requires a bit more legwork, but that's what Adshot or Kayzr is here for as well, to really assist you in the process and to kind of work with data and scale the process further, that it's really become interesting enough for these international brands to work with us. And this is what we saw in our show-off slides, let's say, that this is already the case. So I think there lies a lot of value for them as well. And of course, they need expertise to translate their strategy into streaming, gaming, influencer marketing, etc. But I think that there are reliable partners there that can assist them during that process. And hopefully they can consider us as reliable partners. So,
of course, we are the reliable partners.
Yeah.
Okay, last question I have here. So if you have any more questions, please leave them in the chat or in the comments, that we still see them, and that we can attack them. But last one I have here is, what do you think the impact of the removal of third-party cookies will be in the industry or in general? Which is a very good one, I think. A lot of marketeers, or hopefully all the marketeers here, already know about the removal of third-party cookies. Google is working on alternatives like their Flock, I think, to reach audiences in a different kind of way, on similarities. But also that's GDPR is blocking it, I think, in Europe. I read an article about it. So that means first-party data is going to be more important. So I think for companies like us, Axel, I'm speaking for you on your behalf a bit here too. I think it's very important to collect data, to collect as much data points as you can. Of course, be transparent and don't ask data that doesn't seem to make any sense. But for companies like us, yeah, the more data you have, the better it is for brands, of course, to go on your platform or on your service, because then you can tailor to the audience they want.
No, definitely.
No add-ons, Axel?
No, this time I don't have any add-ons.
Wow.
I think first-party data and the
first.
data that we have is important, and that's what you said. So
yeah. All right. Okay. I'm just gonna quickly check the comments again, but I don't think there are any more questions. I'll give you guys a few more seconds while I'm talking very slowly, but I don't see anything coming.
So approaching the 1 hour mark, so I think that some people, their lunch might be already finished.
Is that, maybe we need some lunch too in a couple of minutes, Axel. So I think perfect. Lastly, I would say you see our credentials on the screen right now normally. So
my name. So if you're looking at me on LinkedIn, sorry that we forgot to adjust it, but just to remove the link, add me on LinkedIn. I already saw that some people added me. So if you want to get in touch, it's also with Xander, of course, just add us on LinkedIn, I think, or mail us.
Or mail us. So yeah, Axel, your name is correct in the mail, so the mail is correct, but yeah, the age, I'm sorry, I take full credit there. So yeah, feel free to add us, and we'll hope to talk with you guys soon. And I think that's about it. Axel, I don't know if you have anything else to
The final thing is indeed, like if you're looking for maybe just Kayzr or just Adshot, or you're interested in what we did for Proximus, we can always take it a bit more in depth and sit around the table with both of us and you as an advertiser or a brand, and we can see what we can do as well to maybe achieve these kind of results, but for your brand.
Perfect, absolutely.
Right.
So we're looking forward to hearing from all of you, hopefully. And yeah, till next time.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.